Welcome. Today we're covering care bundles, one of the most practical and widely used tools in quality improvement, and one every neonatologist running a QI project should understand deeply. We'll define what a bundle actually is and isn't, how to build one, how to choose elements and handle the evidence question, how to implement and measure it, and we'll walk through 4 real neonatal bundles with their published results. The goal is that by the end, you could go design and run a bundle project in your own unit. Keep one idea in mind throughout. The bundle is the easy part, a short list. The reliability is the real work. Start here because it reframes the whole topic. Most neonatal harm is not because we don't know what to do, it's a reliability problem. If you deliver an evidence-based practice 80% of the time, that sounds good, but it means 1 in 5 eligible babies missed it. In a NICU, that's real harm. The IHI developed bundles in 2001 in the idealized design of the ICU collaborative across 13 ICUs. The key conceptual move and the line to emphasize, a bundle is about the how, not the what. The what should already be settled. The bundle makes the how reliable. This is the canonical IHI definition. Worth reading slowly. 4 words to stress. Small, 3 to 5, not a wish list. Evidence-based, settled, uncontroversial. Defined population and setting. You must be able to say exactly who's eligible. And collectively and reliably. The magic is in delivering them together every time. The 4 chips at the bottom are the attributes we'll keep returning to. The all or none point is the one people find counterintuitive, and we'll dedicate a slide to it later. Carol Harridan of IHI warned that the popularity of bundles tempts teams to label any list of good changes a bundle, and that dilutes the concept. Walk down the I is column, then contrast each with the I is not. The 2 that trip people up most, it is not scored as a percentage of elements. It's all or none. And it is not a place to pilot a new intervention. If you bundle something experimental or contested, you've turned your QI project into an uncontrolled trial. The gold strip is the takeaway. If an element invites, well, it depends at the bedside, leave it out. These 4 terms get used interchangeably in QI meetings, and it causes real confusion. The distinguishing feature of a bundle is the all or none measurement on a short evidence-based set. A checklist is a cognitive aid. It can have 20 items, and you measure whether it was used. A protocol has decision logic. A pathway spans the whole admission. They're not competitors. A checklist frequently sits inside a bundle as the means of delivering one element. The practical reason to keep them straight, you measure each one differently. And mislabeling a 12-step protocol as a bundle makes all or none compliance meaningless. IHI describes design characteristics rather than a rigid recipe. A 2024 systematic review actually noted the development methodology is still underdescribed. Use these 8 as a screening filter. The 2 most often violated by enthusiastic teams, binary. Good hand hygiene isn't binary. Hand hygiene per WHO 5 moments observed is, and established. If an element is something a reasonable clinician might decline, it's controversial and it'll kill your all or none compliance. Same time and place is why the golden hour is such a clean bundle. Everything happens in the first 60 minutes at one location. Building a bundle is itself a QI activity. 7 practical steps. The ones teams skip and regret. Step 6. Designing the audit and feedback before go live. If you launch and then figure out how to measure, you lose your baseline. And step 7, piloting small with PDSA instead of a unit-wide parachute drop. The side panel is a high-yield practical tip for device bundles like central lines and ventilators, split into an insertion bundle and a maintenance bundle. They happen at different times, are owned by different people, and fail in different ways. APSIC and essentially every mature CLABSI program does this. This is the question that generates the most heat in QI committees. The honest answer? The ideal is strong evidence for every element. But the reality in neonatology, where RCTs in extremely preterm infants are scarce, is a pragmatic mix. The principle? Every element must be evidence-informed and uncontroversial. What actually matters more than the evidence tier is that the team agrees the element is right and nobody quietly skips it. An element with a perfect RCT that staff resist is worse than a consensus element everyone performs. The one hard rule: never bundle something contested or experimental. And watch element creep. The NEC bundles in the literature often run to 9 elements, which makes all or none compliance very hard. At that point, ask honestly whether it's still a bundle.
Implementation is where bundles live or die, and it's fundamentally a behavior change and systems problem, not a knowledge problem. Use the model for improvement. 3 questions, then iterative PDSA cycles. Test small, learn, adapt, scale. Real neonatal projects, like the Golden Hour QI work in lower middle income settings, run several PDSA cycles, adopting, adapting, or abandoning each change idea. The dark panel lists the levers that genuinely shift compliance. The single highest yield one: make the right thing the easy thing. Physically bundle the supplies so the correct action requires no extra effort. And note the simulation example. 1 unit cut CLABSI from 13.9 to 4.7 per 1,000 line days, largely by standardizing pick insertion through sim training. Competency maintenance matters as much as the protocol itself.
Measurement is what separates a QI project from a good intention. You need 3 kinds of measures, always. Outcome, the thing you ultimately care about. Process, are you actually delivering the bundle? This is your all or none compliance. Balancing, did you cause harm elsewhere? A CLABSI bundle that pushes teams to pull lines early could delay nutrition. Track that honestly, don't bury it. The key teaching point on the dark panel: process measures move first. Outcomes like infection are rare events with a lot of noise. If you only watch the outcome, you'll be discouraged for months. Watch compliance climb and trust that the outcome follows, because the evidence says it does. This is the slide to slow down on, because all or none is the single most counterintuitive idea in bundles. Take a 5-element golden hour bundle and 10 infants, and suppose each element individually is done about 90% of the time. Element averaging says 90%. Looks like a great unit. But all or none asks, how many babies got the complete bundle? That's 0.9 to the 5th power, about 59%. Same data. 4 in 10 babies missed at least 1 element. This is exactly why bundles use all or none. The patient only gets the full protective effect when the whole thing is delivered. And element averaging lets you hide your worst misses behind your best numbers. Whenever someone reports 92% compliance, ask whether that's element average or all or none. Display your data over time, not as a before and after bar pair. 2 bars can't tell you whether a change was real, when it happened, or whether it's just noise. A run chart does all 3. Measure on the y-axis, time on the x, a median line, and crucially, you annotate it with the dates of each PDSA cycle, so you can link a shift in the data to a specific change you made. This illustrative chart mirrors the real breastfeeding/early human milk initiative, where NEC fell from 4.1% to 0.4%. The rules on the right let you call a signal. A shift is 6 or more consecutive points on one side of the median. A trend is 5 or more climbing or falling. SPC charts add control limits and distinguish common cause from special cause variation. For rate data like infections per 1,000 line days, you'd use a P chart or U chart. Practical tip: use the simple run chart for weekly bedside team feedback. Reach for the control chart when you need to formally confirm a special cause signal. Now, 4 concrete bundles you can take home as templates. CLABSI is the prototype and the most studied. The golden hour is the cleanest teaching example because of that same time and place property. NEC prevention illustrates the multi-pathway, sometimes larger than 5 bundle. And the ventilator bundle shows the evidence tier point from earlier. In neonates, it's more consensus-driven than in adults. We'll take each in turn with its elements and the kind of results reported in the literature. The standing caveat: every one of these must be adapted to your own population, resources, and current guidelines. CLABSI is the prototype neonatal bundle and the textbook example of splitting insertion from maintenance.
The insertion bundle is one time, owned by the inserter. Hand hygiene, maximal sterile barriers, cap, mask, gown, gloves, full drape, chlorhexidine prep with full dry time and neonatal skin caution, a trained inserter working from a checklist with an empowered stop, and optimal site and catheter choice. The maintenance bundle is recurring, owned by the bedside team. Daily necessity review so the line comes out the moment it's not needed, scrub the hub on every access, standardized dressing and tubing changes, and minimizing entries. The impact numbers are real and consistent across the literature. Reductions from roughly 9 to under 5 per 1,000 line days, a simulation-driven program from 13.9 to 4.7, a 66% drop in one pre-post study, and a 27-study meta-analysis confirming a statistically and clinically significant benefit.
The golden hour is my favorite teaching bundle because the same time and place characteristic is so clean. Everything happens in the first 60 minutes, from delivery room through admission. 5 element groups: thermoregulation with the preheated warmer, polyethylene wrap, hat, and thermal mattress targeting normothermia on admission; respiratory support with early CPAP and blended oxygen with saturation targeting; glucose and early nutrition; vascular access and timing, including delayed cord clamping and door-to-incubator close targets; and team communication with pre-briefing and role assignment. The reported impact is consistent: less admission hypothermia and hypoglycemia, faster time to parenteral nutrition and antibiotics, and in meta-analyses, reductions in IVH, BPD, and mortality. One ELBW golden hour bundle held admission hypothermia to about 2.5% over 6 years. It also shows the supply bundling lever beautifully. A physical golden hour kit makes the whole thing reliable.
2 more, side by side. NEC prevention is multifactorial, so it targets several pathways at once. Mother's own milk first, with early donor milk when mom isn't available and early consent obtained. A standardized conservative feeding advancement protocol. Delayed cord clamping plus parent education on the value of breast milk. Antibiotic and acid suppression stewardship, and avoiding routine gastric residual checks. These bundles often exceed 5 elements. A fair point to debate, but the results are compelling. Standardized feeding protocols alone cut NEC odds by about 67% in infants under 1,500 grams, and one breastfeeding initiative took NEC from 4.1% to 0.4%. The ventilator bundle, adapted from adult ICU practice, is more consensus-driven in neonates, a clean, real-world example of Tier 3 elements admitted by agreement. The gold strip is the lesson tying all 4 together. The shortlist is necessary, but it's the system redesign around it. Teams, simulation, forms, parents, feedback, that delivers the outcome. Beyond the standard playbook, these are the moves that separate bundles that stick from bundles that fade after the QI poster goes up. Design for sustainability from day one. Embed it in orientation and the EHR so it survives staff turnover. Build a driver diagram so the theory of change is explicit and every element earns its place. Run a pre-mortem. Before launch, ask the team to imagine it failed and explain why. It surfaces workflow conflicts cheaply. Bundles map beautifully onto simulation and OSCE stations, which is directly relevant to fellowship teaching. Run the golden hour as a sim. Score all or none, debrief the misses. Track your balancing measures honestly. Benchmark against a network like Vaughan so your target is credible, not arbitrary. Treat parents as genuine bundle partners, especially for NEC, and plan the de-adoption path. Neonatal evidence changes, so have a mechanism to retire or revise an element rather than carrying it forever. To close, the whole talk in one sentence. A bundle is a small set of uncontroversial, evidence-based actions delivered all or none to a defined population, measured over time, and made reliable through team redesign. Every phrase there is load-bearing, and the final line is the one to leave them with. The list is genuinely the easy part. Any of us can write down 5 good practices. The reliability, doing all 5 every time for every baby, sustained after the project ends, that's the actual work. And that's what QI gives you the tools to do. Thank you.